Chrissy, known online as Wootini, here with another Gay Gamer video podcast. I wanted to start this episode off with a bit of a little rant. I know I should probably review movies that I've been watching on Netflix and stuff, but just so I could talk about movies. But if I see something really awesome, I'll let you know. But I wanted to just rant about something real quick. I've been working from home for this whole pandemic. And it's very frustrating because I am sometimes jealous of the people who live in rural or suburban areas where they can walk around the neighborhood or go to the woods and have fresh air and nature and not have to worry about other people. Because living here in Brooklyn, it's very condensed and the streets are always full of people out for a walk, out running an errand, whatever. People are all out because not everybody has yards. Hardly anyone has yards. So everyone just goes out for walks to get some exercise in air. And I've been working from home this whole time, but I had to go into the office to retrieve a few things, and I rode the subway for the first time since this all started. It was very nerve-wracking. My anxiety was through the roof. Thankfully, I went in the afternoon when I figured it wouldn't be quite so crowded, and it wasn't. There was plenty of social distancing on the subway cars. You could space yourselves out. It was fine. I didn't sit down because I wanted to touch as little as possible. But mostly people were wearing masks. And it was interesting because in Manhattan, walking from the subway to the office and back, the streets were way less crowded than they are here in Brooklyn. And I'm assuming that's just because that's businesses and offices, which are all still pretty much shut down. And it's not residential like my neighborhood in Brooklyn, where everyone is around and living here. I'm sure there are areas of Manhattan that are much more crowded than that Midtown section. But it's so frustrating. Most people are wearing masks, but not everybody. And then, some people are walking around and, it's around their chin or their neck. And then some people just wear it around their mouth and not their nose. And I kept seeing people who would get on the subway and then put their mask up, and I'm like, well, what was that? How was that helping you in the subway station? Or walking down the street, if you passed somebody who coughed as you passed, what are you going to do then? Quickly put it up. Also, putting your mask up and down all the time, you're touching your face, which is not a good thing. So it just frustrates me, and it pisses me off when I see people without any mask at all, because that's just, I want to yell at them, and it just enrages me. But I safely went to work and back and hopefully didn't catch anything. Fingers crossed. I got what I needed, and then also I totally thought a cleaning person was going to have run off with this, but my mostly full bottle of Purell was still sitting on my desk, so I brought that home. Not that it does me any good at home, because I'll just wash my hands with soap. I'm not going to waste Purell, but I can use this to refill my little travel bottle that I use when I go out sometimes. But I will say I am slightly, like I said, I'm jealous of the people who live in rural and suburban areas where they have yards and parks and they can go out and it's not as densely crowded as it is here in Brooklyn or Manhattan. But at the same time, I am glad that I live in an area where mostly people are following the rules and they're all wearing masks and they're, keeping their distance and stuff. Because I would rather that than live in a rural area where I can go out, except that people will be like, I'm not wearing a mask and you can't make me because it impinges my freedom of whatever, breathing. It impinges on my right to get sick or make other people sick. So those people would piss me off and I would have to move because I can't live someplace like that. So hopefully you guys are all in good places and you're not living anywhere like that, because that's unfortunate and sad. Anyway, let's leave that behind and talk about some gaming, which is my escape from all of that. And I continue to escape to my Animal Crossing island. And while I appreciate that Nintendo continues to update Animal Crossing with new events and new features and things, I do hope that future events are a little bit more interesting. The events have been a little hit and miss. This museum stamp day was just not, it was not good. I don't understand the point of it. literally, you walk into the museum, and in each of the 3 sections, you walk around and you find the 3 stamp booths, and you get your stamps, and then Blather says, oh, congratulations, here's your 4th stamp to confirm that you finished the stamp card, and here's your plaque as a reward. And you collect all 3 plaques, and then that's it. You could do it again the next day. The stamps move around within, the areas, so you could theoretically go back and walk around and do it again, but why? It's not fun in the first place to do it. And it also, it's sort of educational. Like, the clues on your stamp card as to, like, where to go to find the stamp itself is sort of educational, but not really. And I feel like they could have gone a little more and, like, had you go around and, like, learn things, and then Blathers would have quizzed you, and then if you got the questions right, then you get a plaque. And then every day there's, like, slightly different questions. That would have been something that I would have done, and I probably would have done it almost every day. I mean, granted, the prize is the same every single day, but I might have done it just to see if I could answer the questions and quiz myself and see if I've learned things about bugs and fossils and fish. Like, that would have been a more interesting way to go about it. This was just too easy, and it was kind of boring and lame. So I'm hoping that this marriage festival thing, whatever it is much more fun with Cyrus and what's her name? I'm blanking. But Reese, that's it. Cyrus and Reese is more interesting. You're going to be taking pictures, so that sounds like it could be fun. That has a little creativity. You actually have to do something, maybe. So we'll see. Fingers crossed that's a little more interesting, too. I have also been playing Assassin's Creed Origins, which just continues apace. It's fun. No big problems, no big drama. It's great. But I did want to talk about Yakuza 5 again, because I went back to it because I got my knockoff PlayStation controller, which, as you can see, does not have a PlayStation logo. And the symbols are actually not the entire symbol. It's like half the symbol. It's like an artistic way of doing it. But, like, it's legit. It's got some heft to it. It feels solid. I will say that there's also these little notches down here for your fingers, which, honestly, don't quite fit where my fingers go. I think my hand's a little big, maybe? I don't know. But it did remind me, going back to the PS3, it did remind me that the PS3 is not a great controller. It's not super comfortable and ergonomic. It's why I've always preferred the Xbox controller. I just find it more comfortable to hold. And I like the Nintendo Switch Pro controller as well. It's the same kind of feel. And the button and joystick layout, I like having the joysticks not next to each other and having them right next to each other. It's just sort of, I like being able to go like this. This is more comfortable to me than this. It's a little things, but whatever. But it does make me appreciate the PlayStation 4 controller, which is a little bit more rounded and more comfortable to hold than the PS3 was. So that's nice. It's also funny because it does have a little heft to it. It doesn't feel cheap. And I remembered in the description they said that it has rumble. So I'm like, oh, okay, that's the rumble. When I was like plugging it into my PlayStation to turn it on and get it, synced up and everything, I was like, wait, and I scrolled down to Flower and tested, and sure enough, tilting it around, it does have a gyroscope in it. So it is a fully featured PlayStation 3 controller that was like $21. And it's great. It's solid. It feels good. It works. I got a little concerned when I went back later to actually sit down to play Yakuza. When I booted up the PlayStation, all of a sudden it started like scrolling down, or left. Actually, it was left, I think. It kept scrolling left, and I'm just like, what the hell? Why is this scrolling left? This is really irritating. Literally just bought it, and it's already got some kind of drift going. But weirdly, when I plugged in the USB cable into the controller again, and linked it via cable, it stopped doing that for some reason. I don't know, maybe there was some kind of weird signal problem, I don't know. And then I unplugged it and it was fine. I just needed to sync again, I don't know, but it was weird, like that reset it or something. And then it was fine, and I was able to play, and it didn't scroll weirdly, and everything was fine. The problem that I discovered was that, like, if you recall a couple episodes ago, when I quit, I had lost the big fight, and I had to turn it off, and you can't suspend the PS3 in the middle of the game, so I had to go to whatever my last save was. Unfortunately, during this big section, it did not save at any point during the whole scenes and fights and whatever. So I had to go back to the very beginning and start that whole section where you go out drinking with your boss again. I was at the phone booth, and I'm like, ugh. So then I had to walk over and start that whole section again. Thankfully, I realized I tried to skip cutscenes and it didn't seem to want to let me, but then after I like mashed X to get through the dialogue, and then there was the fight scene, and then there was like more dialogue. Once we got to the bar, I was able to press start and hit circle to just skip the cutscenes and just get to that fight. Which, disappointingly, I still failed miserably, and I could not blame this one on the controller doing random button presses that I wasn't doing. This was all me. And it's basically, I found that Yakuza gives you like little tutorial things, but it's not like super helpful tutorial things, and the fights that I had were fine, and you could just mash square and hit triangle and you'd beat them and they were done. Here, these guys were like, it was like a boss fight, and they had large health bars and they were guarding and they were fighting properly and making it a challenge. And mashing square and hitting triangle was not enough. And so then I tried like picking up a chair and hitting them with it, but then they would hit me and the chair would go flying and it just didn't work. And I'm like, how do I lock on? And it was a whole big boot out. So I failed, and then I tried it again, and then for whatever reason, when I tried it a third time there, that third time was the charm. Because when I restarted the fight, somehow I was able to focus on the one guy and get him down, and then his health bar went, and I was like, yay. So then I had to kind of try to ignore the other guy or keep him away while I finished him off, which was a little tricky, but then I was like, once I finish him off, then I can focus on the other guy, and it's like one at a time kind of thing, and that I could probably handle, hopefully. But then what happened was, once I got that first guy down, the second guy was like, and he like smashed a bottle and he was gonna come at me, and then the game paused to give me a little hint and tip, and was like, tutorial. Sometimes during a fight, you'll have this moment where you can press, they're gonna do a special attack, and you can press a button and do a special counterattack and take them out. And sure enough, I just like mashed circle when it told me to, and then I took him out in one hit, and it was like, oh, well that was easy. So I'm not really sure what's going on there, but I'm not crazy about the combat in Yakuza 5. I don't know if I can go back. I think there was a difficulty setting. I think I might be able to go back in and like make it easy so that I can just breeze through the fights and enjoy the story. But first I have to find out what this story is, because it's still just set, everything is just being set up, so I'm still not like, it hasn't like drawn me in and made me go, ooh, I want to play this. So it's just sort of like, you know, because it's in the bedroom, it's like that novelty thing when I can't play my PS4 and play some Assassin's Creed, and I've already played Animal Crossing, either on the TV or portably in the bedroom. I'm like, well, I'll play another game, let me play Yakuza. So it's kind of that, like, very bottom of the rung there, so I don't really play a lot of it, and it's not engaging enough that it makes me want to play it, which I would if it did. So I'll keep trying it. Maybe this isn't the one that I should have started with. It's 5, I don't know, but it's the one that I had for free, so that's what I'm playing. I do have another one. I have Yakuza Kiwami, I think. That's in my PS4 library that I could download and play, but I don't know what that is. Maybe that, since it's not a number, maybe that would be a good one because it would be more of a standalone game. I don't know, but it's in my library. Maybe I'll play it someday. Excuse you, dog. So that's it for this week. Come back next time and I'll talk about some other things. Please stay safe and stay home. Bye!